Pledge allegiance to the flag and remain standing for the invocation. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We move too slow.
Very good. Would you remain standing, please? Our thought for tonight is pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. That's from Kathleen Casey. Let's pray. Most gracious Father, we thank you tonight for these young ladies that are here. We pray your blessings on this meeting as we conduct our business in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McDonald? Here. Graham? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Candia?
Here.
Day?
Here.
Mayor Martino?
Here. Declaration of conflict of interest? None. There being none tonight. And we'll move on to item 6. This is ceremonial matters. And the proclamation tonight, and this is Girl Scout Week. So we have a proclamation, and I'm going to go up to the podium there, and I don't know who's going to go up with me.
Welcome.
Yeah, you can all go up if you want. We can gather around. Yeah, let's all gather around. You even get to say something afterwards if you like. Okay. Whereas March 12, 2020 marks the 108th anniversary of Girl Scouts of USA, founded by Juliet Gordon Lowe in 1912 in Savannah, Georgia, with 18 girls. And whereas Girl Scouts will celebrate being a girl by participating at events that make them go-getters, innovators, risk-takers, and leaders. And whereas throughout its long and distinguished history, Girl Scouts have inspired millions of girls and women with the highest ideals of character, conduct, patriotism, and whereas Girl Scouts offer girls 21st century programming in science, technology, engineering, and math, the outdoor, entrepreneurship, and beyond, helping girls develop invaluable life skills and taking the lead early and often. And whereas the world's premier leader development organization for girls, Girl Scouts welcome girls of all background interests who want to develop the courage, confidence, and character to make the world a better place. And whereas more than 100 years of experience, Girl Scouts bring a wealth of knowledge to programs that deliver girls cornerstone experience with benefits that last a lifetime. Whereas more than 2.5 million Girl Scout members nationwide will celebrate 108 years of this American tradition, with nearly 60 million women who are former Girl Scouts and living proof of the impact of this amazing movement. Now therefore, I, Bob Martina, Mayor, on behalf of the Newman City Council, do by here proclaim the week of March 8th through the 14th as Girl Scout Week in the city of Newman. Yeah. Congratulations. What's it like to be a Girl Scout? You want to tell us anything?
It's good to be a Girl Scout.
What are some of the things you do?
We get to play games.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
What were we working on this week?
Go ahead, Annie. Yep, you can all
Squeeze
Please.
on in.
Our patches to do a couple of things, and we get to sometimes go camping and all that.
Oh, great.
Sometimes they're not true, but what we would do is we would set up a cookie booth in front of a store. We'll sell cookies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes we get to make stuff.
Good. Okay.
We pick up trash at the parks.
Very good.
We create stuff.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
This is an
girls.
honor to make this proclamation for the Girl Scouts.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah,
And,
it's, please, go ahead.
well, I just want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity tonight. The girls are finishing their badges for inside government and civic pride or community, something like that. So this was kind of a capstone to stuff that we talked about, folding the flag, what the flag means, different symbolisms that our nation and our even city and state have. So we appreciate you letting us come tonight. Thank you.
so much. Thank you for
Outstanding
coming.
job, girls.
I like to say that basically you young ladies are the future of the city of Newman. And by that, I proclaim that you all are girl power.
Okay, so if you girls would like, you can stay around, or if you want, we can take a short recess and leave, but if you'd like to, the meeting won't last too long, but it's your choice. Would you like to stay?
Okay.
Okay, great.
That's fine.
It's good to have, it's nice to have an audience. Sometimes we don't. Okay, we're moving on to item 7, and this is items from the public. These are non-agenda items. Anyone that would like to speak to the council, please go to the podium, state their name and address for the record.
Timothy Parker, 661 Newman, California. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and staff. I just wanted to make a comment about the coronavirus and all the talk that's been going about, and I wanted to direct it towards staff and our public safety. I happen to be where the Princess Cruise came in at the Port of Oakland, and of course we know through the news media all that has been talked about. My challenge to us in our rural county, in Stanislaus County, is that it at least be talked about in terms of what may be considered as this continuation happens throughout our nation. It was just something that was on my mind because I was in the area. Everything kind of stopped, it was really a moment in time when that ship was coming in, and for those of us that were actually able to view it and see it, our heartfelt thoughts went out to all the people, of course, that have been quarantined on the ship. But more importantly, I thought about the fact that, once I come over the hill, it's not something I really think about, but it's something that we should be thinking about and have some kind of contingency plan, at least being thought about within our rural areas. So that was my public comment tonight on non-agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak to?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Sophie Petrakis from the Newman Library at 1305 Kern Street. Just wanted to let you guys know all of our upcoming programs, because it's been a while since I've seen you guys. We just celebrated Dr. Seuss' birthday last week. Today we had an edible garden. We had waffle bowls, chocolate muffin crumbled up as dirt, lollipops made into flowers, and of course gummy worm and some chocolate rocks. So that was a fun craft for quite a few people that are here today. Next week we are celebrating St. Patrick's Day with some Q-tip painting, so dot painting. And then after that, the Great Valley Museum is going to come and do science or magic experiments. So that's going to be good. Advanced sign-ups, because there's only so many supplies for the kids, and we still have openings. So if anyone needs to sign up, they can call or stop into the library. For adults, we have book flowers. We're going to take old books and use the pages to make origami flowers and make a bouquet. That is on the 28th of this month. Also, from the March 7th, just the other day, to April 18th, we're starting our In and Out cover-to-cover program. After every 5 books children read, they get a certificate for a cheeseburger or a hamburger, and they can read up to 15 books for 3 certificates. All free. That's about it. All right, thank you.
So much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, thank you so much for being so consistent, at the library, with your activities and the people, especially the young people that go up there to read books, and now I'm hearing that, they're doing after-school tutoring up there, and kids are learning, so thank you so much for being so consistent.
Oh, thank you. And then a lot of our kids who don't frequent the library as much are now my high school volunteers.
Right.
So they're still involved, they're just also getting their hours in, which is great and a huge help.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the council? Okay, if not, we're going to move on to item 8, which is a consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the February 25th, 2020 meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent calendar as is.
Second that?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. 9 is a public hearing, and we do not have a public hearing tonight, so we're going to move on to item 10, regular business. A, adopt resolution number 2020, next number, awarding the park and landscaping maintenance service agreements to Joe's Landscaping and Concrete, Inc. for the annual amount of $137,488 and authorize the city manager to execute agreement and associated documents.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. The item before you is regular business, and is such that we contract out the maintenance of 15 landscape districts and about 25 acres of the over 40 acres of parks that we have. We were in a contract with Joe's over the last several years. You entered into an agreement in 2015. We extended it another year, and so we frequently, every few years, put this out to a public bid. We advertised it. We opened bids publicly. We received 2 bids, one from Joe's Landscaping and one from West Side Landscape and Concrete, 2 local companies. We removed a couple line items because it really increased the cost too much, and we didn't want the resident staff to bear that burden of an increase. And so we dialed it back a bit. Joe's agrees with the maintenance contract that we're entering in, which is attached to the staff report. And so staff recommends that you approve this contract, and we'll go into another 3-year term with the option of extending with a cost of living increase on the 4th year. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions from the council?
I do. One of the things that I noticed on here, and it's one of my pet peeves, is the Sherman ditch.
Yes.
And the reason it is a pet peeve is because there's people in the neighborhood that hound me all the time. If they see me in the store, if they see me on the street. So I see that they're supposed to clean it every 2 months, which I haven't seen that happen.
So this is a new item this year. Public Works has been tasked to do that since the ditch was constructed, and with everything else they have, it doesn't get done as frequently as it should be done to prevent those comments. And so we added that to the contract to see what type of price we could get, and we, with the finance director and city manager, we met on it and decided that the budget could support it. It is a collection system, so we're going to share some of that cost with the wastewater, so we can add that to the contract, and so we hopefully see a big difference in the maintenance of the ditch.
It just, water gets accumulated in there, and then pretty soon we're gonna be in mosquito season, and you know what happens then, so, anyway.
Yep.
I'll keep an eye on it.
So,
Joe was not doing it, Joe's Landscaping was not doing it
Prior?
in the prior
That's right.
contract.
Okay.
It was the city that was
That's
doing
right.
it. Okay, very good.
Any other question? Thank you, Catherine.
you're welcome.
With that, I bring it back to the council for motion.
I move we adopt resolution number 2020, next in number, awarding the Parks and Landscape Maintenance Services Agreement to Joe's Landscaping and Concrete Incorporated for the annual amount of $137,488, and authorize the city manager to execute agreement and associated documents.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Item B, adopt resolution number 2020, next number, authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase and sale agreement for 219 Jensen Road for use as a future right-of-way.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. So 219 Jensen Road is on the north side of Jensen, just a little bit east of Fig Lane intersection with there. It's a small house on there right now. It's about just under an acre. We had some conversations with the property owners and then ultimately decided that they wanted to explore a purchase and sale agreement. And so we went out and had Cogdill and Genome and Associates appraise it. And then we use that as a basis for moving forward with the purchase and sale agreement. So ultimately, we are looking to purchase this property because the general plan calls for Jensen Road to be an arterial roadway, right? So ultimately, that's a 110-foot right-of-way. As you know right now, Jensen Road is, I'm going to call it, for lack of a better term, a big mess. And that's a county road right now. That is not a city road. But, that is part of the Northwest Newman annexation proposal. At some point in time, we expect that will be a part of the city. One of the benefits that we believe comes along with the Northwest Newman annexation, along with the jobs and the additional housing that's going to ultimately come, would be to improve Jensen Road to make it safe for two vehicles to drive down that lane simultaneously, each in their own lane, and then also have some additional paths for the youth that also travel through there as well. So this would be a first step in the right direction. Any of the extra land potentially could be used for a storm drainage basin for the business park, or it could be sold off as business park. And once we get the engineer to come in and finalize exactly how much of the right-of-way we will need to ultimately take, then we'll make that plan accordingly. Because we don't anticipate that we're going to need it right away, because construction's going to lag behind a little bit, the property owner asked if their mother, who has lived on that property for decades, could continue to occupy the property. And so we allowed that to happen. They'll basically maintain the property for us in the meantime as well, but we'll own the property. So, and so we did allow her to stay until the end of next year, the 21. And then after that will be based upon when the construction timeline happens. So we've already done some very preliminary engineering on that. And so we're trying to move that forward. It also plays into the fact that when we do the new water well and storage facility and then transmission lines, we want to ultimately tie that into the line in Sherman Parkway. And so, we're going to need the right-of-way there to put that water transmission line in. Because when you put a water transmission line in, you want to make sure that you're putting it in the right place, because you don't want to move it later. And so we think this is an appropriate time. We have a willing seller. We have the money in our account right now. It'll be a combination of traffic impact fees as well as water and sewer, because water and sewer and storm go in there as well. We don't have the final breakdown yet of how that's going to work, but that'll be shared. Probably primarily it'll be traffic and a little bit of water, sewer, and storm on there. So with that, I can answer any of your questions at this time.
With the mother staying in the property, we have sufficient liability coverage
We do.
in the contract.
We've worked, the contract was written and reviewed by our legal counsel, so
Okay,
they're comfortable with that language and they know that is a part of the sale agreement.
Okay.
So we're looking at, Michael, in terms of expanding that whole area, because at one point in time, I thought we were talked about maybe turning that into a one-way coming up out of there into Highway 33. at one
That's,
point.
when that conversation happened, that was a short-term interim only because you only had enough roadway
Right.
for one to come out. We're talking about the build-out of the general plan, so you're looking, when that ultimately gets built out there, and you're talking the general plan, you have business park on one side of the road, you have commercial on the other, we're talking like probably a grocer, kind of shopping center type location over there. You have a stoplight at the signal, we'll be at the highway there, and so, yeah, ultimately, we're gonna have, 4 lanes, 2 lanes going each way.
Right. And that was my next question, is that we talked about a stoplight or some type of hazard light at the end of that, at 33.
Yes, yeah, there'll be one on there, and again, I can't tell you what the timeline is, it'll all be based upon annexation, it'll be development driven as well, and so once the thresholds have been met, and then the stoplight is triggered through Caltrans and through whatever development ultimately comes in, this is gonna be a development-driven thing. We're just trying to get our ducks in a row. It's like you can't invite anybody into your house until your house is clean and ready to go. And so we're just trying to make sure that our house is ready to go, so that way we can capture some of the economic development that's occurring in the area. But ultimately, we need this right-of-way, to help right now in a situation that, you have one single lane, and sometimes you have cars pulling off the road so the other one can go through, so.
And then you've got kids walking too.
That's right.
Yeah, or bicycles, or people running, and there's a lot of different things that occur out there, so we're just trying to take a proactive stance and try to solve a problem instead of waiting for the county to do it, because if we wait for the county, we don't know when that would happen, so.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the residents of our community are going to be very happy with that, simply because that's been on their minds too, in terms of what we want to do with that.
Yeah, and so, there's a lot of different things that have to happen before we get
Right.
that done, but, to gather, a critical piece of property, you gather it when it's available. And this time it's available to us, and I think this is a good opportunity, and it's a win-win situation. The property owner will not be displaced, they'll be continue to be allowed to live there and maintain the property as it is until, further notice, until that construction project comes through.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, Mr. Mayor and Council, Timothy Parker, 661 Balsam, on this particular item, if I may comment, if it's not out of order, I don't think it is, because it's a public item. Notwithstanding the staff report, and notwithstanding the future, because Jensen Road is an original part of the general plan, it was once upon a time, Bob will recall, called the Ring Road, in honor of Bob Navoa, may he rest in peace. He was a former councilman and also a very strong advocate of that road that would encircle our city. I think this action is a little bit premature, particularly in light of what you just approved during your last council meeting, where those property owners will be considering whether or not they're going to annex that area. With that said, I want to ask staff, because obviously in your report you do allude to where the monies would be coming from, but those monies and this particular purchase is not in the original planning for the budget of the year. Is that correct? Am I out of line by stating that?
Yeah, we'll do a budget agreement, but these funds are allowed to be used for that because it is in our AB 1600 impact report.
Okay, but it wasn't, the monies weren't initially drawn up for a real estate purchase, but you're allowed to move the monies in order to make the purchase. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, those monies are available for real estate purchase.
They were dedicated for real estate purchase, okay. I would suggest, and this is a suggestion, of course, the decision is made there behind the desk, that you table this with a little more consideration, because it's not just that particular property, and I understand the dynamics of the property owner being willing to sell, but however, what I just heard is the property owner also wants the grandmother to continue to reside there. I didn't hear anywhere where there would be a contingency for that to actually be a lease agreement of some sort. It sounded as if in the agreement, the city would just allow them to continue to reside there for a year. Under some best business practices, that piece of property, which continues to remain in the county, may actually just remain under the city's ownership for quite some time. because as was alluded to by staff, the dynamics of economics moving forward, and we can clearly see what's going on economically right now, I'm just thinking about the timing and whether or not it necessitates purchasing it just because it seems to be an agreement from the landowner currently. Additionally, I heard staff allude to the appraisal. Was the city just going on just the one appraisal, or is it a market rate appraisal? Because those property values, I don't think, marks up to the actual $300,000 that you're willing to spend. And I just wanted to make these comments, bring them out in public. You're going to make the decision you make, but it's just a consideration. Having understood and having some knowledge base, kind of intrinsically, about the city's future growth and direction, just take that into consideration. It's sometimes putting the cart before the horse, is that how the saying goes? I just don't see the dynamics in the timing. So with that, that would be the consideration I would have the persons that are making the decision consider. Thank you.
Okay, I bring it back to the council for direction.
I move we adopt Resolution 2020 next in number, authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase and sale agreement for 219 Jensen Road for use as a future right-of-way.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to item 11. Oh, no, Jim's not here tonight. Item 12, items from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. I did place an item before you today. It's actually a copy of a board agenda item, a Stanislaus County Board agenda item. It's item 6C1. It was on March 3rd. And Jim was telling us about this because if you look on the back page, it actually has a schedule for the Hills Ferry Road construction project. Jim's talked about that a lot, but they've now have dialed into a schedule. So I wanted you to be aware of what that schedule was, and so I just basically printed out the whole staff report for you. That's already been approved by Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors.
Appreciate you doing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. Second item, and I talked to him a little bit before, but just Councilmember Graham and Councilmember McDowell sit on our 2+2 committee. We were tentatively scheduled to have a meeting next Tuesday. Unfortunately, their board members can't make it, so right now we're trying to move that meeting to March 24th. Just a reminder that this Saturday is the Art Walk from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
You have the time on that, Michael?
3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Thank you.
You got it. Just some stuff that we're working on internally. It's budget time of the year, so Lou's got us all looking at the numbers for next year. Catherine and I continue to work on our wetlands project, our biofilter. We already received $600,000 in grant money for wetlands recreation. We're working on a $6+ million grant for our biofilter that would clean up our stormwater before it went off into, down the road into the Miller Ditch, and some of that may be captured by the city, and some of it may ultimately end up back in the river. So we want to make sure we do that and with good stewards. We've filed for some Prop 68 funds there that would create some recreational amenities for our community out there in terms of trailways, environmental education, some meeting space, and some of the other things that are going on out there. And then lastly, this council approved an agreement where we're partnering with UC Merced on the wetlands project, and so they are creating their own thing that will be looking at the ag water. As the ag water comes into it, they'll be creating a project there that helps filter up and clean up that ag water as well. So, lastly, I know there's a lot on the media right now about the coronavirus, and as early as last week, our finance department has been working, and, we're wiping down all of our counters and doing that twice a day or more, and we're working with the Stanislaus County, and I think we forwarded you the brochure and the protocols that they produced last week, and so, our fire chief works closely with them, and so we're real comfortable with where we stand as an organization right now and the things that we're doing right now. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have.
I have a quick question for you. It looks like the school district measure is going to be defeated. So do we have plans, because I know that they had on that, and they talked about the swimming pool, and this has been sort of a thing that we've been trying to spearhead. Are we going to look any closer in terms of maybe trying to get that swimming pool back in?
Well, that's up to the council. So if you want me to, we can put together a rough schedule where it'd be very tight right now to probably try to get something on. We're in early March, we could probably still get something on for November. If you like, I could put together a rough schedule and a cost
I don't want to
estimate.
do it rough.
No.
I want to do it right.
Yeah, I'd rather do it right.
Yeah. The problem is, Michael, we know that we need every ounce of energy to make this happen, and we have to have all our ducks in line. I just don't think timing allows us to get it on the ballot.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. I don't know what.
But I agree with Councilmember McDonald that we do need to start thinking about this, and possibly after the, maybe toward the end of the year or the first part of the year, coming year, that we can start looking at that to get it on to the next
Yeah.
Or maybe have
cycle.
maybe have a special election, for that.
Yeah, we'll look at the election schedule on that. I think what's important to remember is we really got to put together, for lack of a better word, a campaign, and it really needs community support.
Absolutely.
We need members of the community that want to come forward and participate in part and help run that campaign, to let us know that, that's something that's coming from the community. It's difficult. When the last time we went out there, we went out and did some education days, and we tried to talk to a lot of groups, but most of them don't want to hear from me. They want to hear from community members on why they should do it. So, I guess maybe a first step, and we'll talk about it later on, like this year, if you say maybe the first step is trying to get together a community group, engage and sit down with them and figure out if that's something that they really want, and then we can do that. If you like, and we'll talk a little bit more about it again, it's something we can bring up at the Fall Festival again, in terms of trying to gauge and get people's interest on what it is that they would like to see, and then go from there.
And possibly have community sign-ups there for people that'd be interested to be part of a committee to work on that.
Correct.
During that.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, Bob McConnell, he actually showed us the way. I don't know if he has the energy to do it again, but
Yeah.
I think, he showed us, and of course, if we follow his outline, and how he went out there, and we came awful close. I mean, and of course, and I was amazed at how well he was organized. I mean, it's just amazing. But anyway, I'm in favor of the pool. To do it in November is just not realistic.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything else, Michael?
That's it for me.
Chief, do you have anything for us tonight?
I do. Just a quick reminder that the Canine Crab Feed will be April 25th this year. Tickets are on sale now. You can get them at the Police Department, Meadows Newspaper, or Chevron. So if you want tickets, buy them now before they sell out.
You mean they're not sold out?
As of right now, we still have some left.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have any discount?
No.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd talk real briefly, with all the things that have been happening in the stock market, some of you might be wondering how it's affecting our investments. The quick executive summary is that it has no effect on us. We do not invest in stocks. The types of investments that we deal with are bonds, notes, CDs, things that are more secure. In December of last year was when the WHO first, or the World Health Organization, first reported the existence of this new virus. The stock market has continued to climb up until about February 20th, and it started dropping off at that point. And today it climbed back up a little bit. So looking at our finances from that time till now, both our market value and the book value of our investments have increased. So there is nothing to be concerned about as far as whether this financial events are going to be having an effect on the city's finances.
That's
We're still good.
So is everything going to stabilize?
It will.
It seems the opinion that the reason why the market is doing this is
Well-
because of two things. One is the presidential election coming up, and the other is the existence of the virus. Markets always jump around when there's a presidential election. Both those will pass, and people who invest in the markets will turn around and start looking at the economic and financial strength of the types of businesses that they're investing in, and will not look at the panic that exists with some investors. Warren Buffett, matter of fact, this time he's actually finding some really good deals because people walked away from stocks which, based on their normal value, if these events weren't occurring right now, would be worth a lot more. So he's picking up, and then, 6, 7 months down the road, when everything clears up, he'll be even better off than he is now. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Lou.
He's not worried, believe me.
The buyer's market.
Catherine, do you have anything tonight?
I just have a couple items, thank you, Mayor. We are working on a highway sustainability plan, which is a master plan for our Highway 33 corridor. And so some of the things that get brought up in our meetings about signals and intersections along the highway, that'll all be discussed, and we'll have several public meetings where the community can come out and give their input and kind of give all of us an idea of what the community would like to see out there, and then the engineers will be involved with what's possible. That will be going out for an RFQ where we'll get some qualified planning agencies in, planning consultants, and then they'll spearhead that with staff's heavy involvement. So that's coming in the next few months. And then we also are going to have a public meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock at the community room next to PD, and that's going to be discussing bicycle and pedestrian safety. And so the consultant that Stan Cog has hired is putting together a non-motorized plan regionally for our whole Stanislaus County. And so they want input from the community here in Newman to let them know what they want to, what the community wants to see in this area as far as pedestrian bicycle safety. We're also working on a list for CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grants. We get an allocation every year, and that's to do sidewalk infills. It serves underserved areas of town, so staff have been working on a list to come up with some good projects for sidewalk infills and different infrastructure type projects. So we'll have a couple community meetings on that as well. Justin, I think, has one scheduled, but I don't know the date right now, but we'll let you know what date that is. That's all I got.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
Fire Chief Bowen, do you have anything?
All right, just some numbers for COVID-19. The total confirmed cases in 113 countries was 114,280. Outside of China, the cases are 33,541. We have had 157 confirmed cases in California, based on the information I'm getting. And then in the U.S., they had 19 deaths recorded from the disease. So again, we just want to remind people, non-invasive procedures, right? Wash your hands, warm water, soap as often as possible, clean, common, hard surfaces. If you deal with the public and you shake someone's hand, don't touch your face, your eyes, and all that stuff. Wash your hands regularly. If you can't wash your hands, use hand rubs, the alcoholic hand rubs. And then I know there was some concern about if staff and how we continue business. Just let you guys know, we do have a continuity of operations plan for the city, which does identify key personnel and alternate workstations if we needed to move employees around to make sure we continue to conduct business. So just a little heads up on that. I know everyone gets a little worried about it. Our first responders, just so you know, what they're doing is we have some key markers. If we show up and people have signs or symptoms of what we call like flu-like, including fever. Our universal precautions are a mask, goggles, gloves, and a jacket. So if you see us show up like that, don't freak out. It's just
protection measure we're taking for our first responders, so that way we don't spread the disease or become infected ourselves and affect our first responders. I'll answer any questions. I got one more thing. Anything on COVID-19? No? Okay. On Wednesday, Thursday, so tomorrow and Thursday, I'll be at the THIRA training. This is the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. We update them on about a 5 to 10 year period, so we'll be working with the county on that. The whole county is going to have one plan. So part of that was we had to go to this 2-day training in Modesto, so I'll be out there for the next 2 days working on that plan with the county, and I can answer any other questions you may have.
Very good. On the COVID, we're coordinating all of our activities here locally with the county response activities, is that correct?
Correct. So the county public health official is the same person for us. So daily we get emails, and I get plenty more information than I need on a regular basis about COVID, and then we have weekly conference calls.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. AC, do you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you all, young ladies, for coming tonight. We appreciate you guys sticking around. I know it's not very exciting, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Lloyd?
Well, I'm hoping that you sell all the cookies. I'm going to try to get my share. Thank you for coming. And don't forget, you're the future of this city.
Thank you, Lloyd. Nick, do you have anything?
Thank you, young ladies, for coming tonight. Appreciate it. It's nice to have an audience.
Yeah.
We don't get that very often. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, young ladies, for being here, and thank you for staying. We appreciate that. We appreciate the staff and the hard work that you guys put in on all of the things that we consider here, and we appreciate the effort. When we look at something on the dais here, we already know just about everything we need to know. That's why we don't ask a lot of questions sometimes, and why we take the actions that we take, is because we have a good staff that gives us the information we really need. So with that, thank you, sir.
Okay, and all I like to say is the same thing that everyone else is, that it's really great to have you out tonight. You know, the Girl Scouts, dear to my heart, and I believe it or not, I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout, so I went through those kind of programs. So those programs are really great for young people. They build a lot of character, and you get a lot out of it, and you're very fortunate to be in the Girl Scouts. But anyway, and thank the leaders that lead these girls, and for all you do, because, without you, they wouldn't have a Girl Scout troop. But anyway, with that, I'd like to ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, motion. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.